Hello and welcome to this very special press conference. I'm Colin Jackson and I'm hosting this particular section of it, and I'm very proud and excited to be doing that. Before we go any further, really, I'd like to just give you a little bit of housekeeping, because anybody who knows me and has been there while I've been running the press conferences previously for Weltklasse Zürich will tell you that I absolutely love people to be involved in the conversation. So if you look at your screen yourself, at the bottom there, you'll find a button where you can see live chat. And during that live chat, I'd like you to ask questions of our athletes or of our co-meet directors. Any information that you feel that I don't get out of them that you particularly want, feel free to get involved. We'll get those questions to them as quickly as we can. And of course, we'll get them answered by the people that you need to hear from. So, as I said, this is a very unique press conference because the Inspiration Games brought to you by Weltklasse Zürich is such an innovative concept in athletics. So when I talk about being a trailblazer, this is it. So unusual, so exciting. So we're going to have a conversation with both the meet directors and also some of the athletes who will be participating and finding out what they feel it's going to be like, what they feel their experience is going to be like. And I believe how much fun it is going to be for the audience to see athletes competing from across the globe in a very, very different manner. So enough from me. Let's find out from the co-meet directors themselves, Andreas Heidegger and Christoph Joho. Andreas and Christoph, it's brilliant that we are talking to you. Now, first of all, can I say, Andreas, can I speak to Christoph first? Because I've spoken to you on numerous occasions. So forgive me if I'm going directly to Christoph. Christoph, how are you?
Yeah, hi, Colin. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited that in 2 days we're going to have the Inspiration Games, not only in Zurich, all over the world. And I'm nervous like an athlete a day before the competition. So if everything is going right, how everything will come together. At the same time, it's also strange because normally you are next to us in a press conference. We have the Diamond League trophy. Zurich is hosting the final of the Diamond League season. And today, when you're entering the stadium, it's primarily the disinfectants are all over to clean, to wash the hands, but it's the way it is.
Yeah. Now, we've seen so much cancellations of great competition across the whole planet. You know, obviously because of the pandemic, we've got to think of health and safety first. So, of course, we saw the Olympics go. We saw the European Football Championships disappear. Over here, the United Kingdom, Wimbledon didn't happen first time for such a long time, since the World Wars. So when it came to Weltklasse Zürich, you must have been at some stage thinking, oh, I don't think it's going to happen. What are we going to do? And of course, what has happened is the Inspiration Games.
Yeah, exactly. It was in March when this corona outbreak was really took up speed in Europe. And then pretty soon, you got the feeling that it won't be possible to have 25,000 people in a sold-out stadium, as it was his tradition in Zurich. So we thought, what can we do? Should we go on holiday and then come back in 1 year, or are there other opportunities? And then we decided to create inspiration series. Actually, it started a month ago with the 1 million run. It was something for Switzerland, for the public. And now in 2 days, we're going to have the Inspiration Games. The goal, because the athletes cannot come to Zurich, so we decided we go to them.
So this is most probably the best time to bring in Andreas. But before we speak to you, Andreas, should we have a look at a clip that may explain a little bit what the Inspiration Games on Thursday will be all about?
The stars of athletics are back. They are back to inspire in a live event with a new dimension. They are back to treat viewers to Weltklasse performances in 8 events, despite the difficult, slightly surreal days we live in. Get ready for the Weltklasse Zürich Inspiration Games. The stars will compete in 7 arenas in various corners of the globe. If the athletes cannot come to Zurich, we make Weltklasse Zurich happen wherever they are, thousands of miles apart, yet united in a competition. 3 athletes line up in each of the 8 events. This is how it works. Zurich starts the race by means of an electronic impulse. The starting guns in Florida and California, for instance, are activated at the same time. The Swiss timing clocks start running at the exact same time at all venues. The TV images, however, experience a slight lag during transmission and will therefore arrive in Zurich somewhat delayed. Therefore, the TV images will be synchronized. Here's an example. The flash of the starting gun will serve as a reference. Now the race can be broadcast as one race with a delay of 2 minutes. The stars of athletics lining up in 8 competitions. Routinier versus world champion. Diamond League record holder against Olympic champion. The best facing the best in their own home arena, but connected with the world.
Absolutely fantastic. I am so looking forward to that. And one of the team members who's brought all that together is Andreas. How excited are you about what you're going to try to deliver on Thursday?
We are, of course. It's world innovation. So, yeah, we are excited. We all don't know how it works out. And we are positively excited. And we are also happy that we can do that. And we cannot wait to show track and field on the highest world level again.
How complicated was it in trying to organize all the different stadiums, or the staff that need to staff those particular stadiums, and of course, get the athletes on board to compete?
Yeah, athletes are hungry for competition. Honestly, they want to compete. They don't have the opportunity, especially they don't have the opportunity on world level. On the other hand, of course, being in the home arenas somewhat difficult because we are in some of the difficult pandemic areas. And of course, there are many challenges to overcome, but we are happy to present that on Thursday.
What can the audience expect to see? What will be their experience, you feel?
We'll have 3 athletes in each discipline. They compete for a team, a European team against the North American team, against the rest of the world team. So it is somehow a team competition. It is 8 different disciplines, 3 field, 5 track. And we also going to see this competition happen in 3 different time zones. So it is 9 hours time difference between California and Zurich, for instance.
Now, a lot of people will be thinking, how is it going to be fair? How is it going to be explained to them as the audience? Who's won? How's the wind conditions that affecting people in different locations, in different areas? How does that come together in Zurich?
Somehow it will not be really 100% comparable, of course, because in one stadium probably is tailwind, in the other venue maybe headwind, but that will give a lot of topics to discuss about for the experts and for the commentators. So that is on one hand. On the other hand, we will have Swiss timing equipment at each and every venue. And it will be a ratifiable result for each athlete at the venue, because we have fall start machines, we have photo finish, we have wind gauges, and all the Swiss timing material is there. And it is, in this sense, it is comparable.
It's really innovative athletics and the concept you're trying to deliver. I mean, your partners that you're working alongside have put a lot of time and effort to make this thing happen, haven't they?
Yeah, as Christoph said before, we started with the plan B some time ago, and it takes us until Thursday. We are not there yet, so we have some testing ahead, and we have to test the connections, we have to test all the different synchronization and all these things. Yeah, we are not 100% there yet, but we are convinced that we will deliver a good product.
Yeah, I was thinking that in a sense, you know, we've still got a few days out to those. So is there a lot of time that is spent, obviously, testing to making sure that every little piece of equipment connects well together to deliver what, I guess, Weltklasse Zürich is so used to delivering, which is the best?
Yes, of course. It is been feasibility checks from the beginning on, and then we started to invent graphics for TV. We invented all the technology for Swiss timing synchronization of the pictures, of the images worldwide. Yeah, it has been a lot of testing already, and we will have some final testings now to work out tomorrow and also 3 hours before the competition. It will be a one-to-one simulation to make sure that everything will work out very good.
Before I go back to Christoph, have you got anything else that you'd like to show us, to explain to us that will bring the event alive?
Yeah, there is an opportunity to show you how it will look like in the TV image. We will have, because there are always 3 athletes involved, a so-called 3-split screen, and we will see each venue in one of the screens and one athlete in each screen, and we will have that in only one camera angle. And that is not like misunderstandings. You see the exact time angle of each and every athlete. And the first athlete crossing the finish line will also stop the unofficial time, so as we are used to. So it will probably be like a normal competition in a bit different way.
Excellent. That looks so exciting. I literally cannot wait. Not that I want to rush you guys, of course, but I do want to speak to the athletes as well, because they're the ones who are going to be competing and experiencing this such unique occasion. But Christoph, for you, was it difficult really bringing on and really explaining to partners what the event was going to be all about and how it was going to run? Was that a difficult challenge for you to convince them that this could work?
No, actually, it was not that difficult, because when you explained the concept of this, our inspiration series, our intention, our philosophy is never stop getting better. So whatever we do, we kind of ask ourselves, are we doing the right thing? And with this philosophy, now it's a different time with a lot of challenges. So we come up with a new concept. So really they bought in very, very quickly. And we are thankful for this one. However, the first telephone call was always the most surprising one, because first we canceled Weltklasse Zürich, so this is gone, no final of the Diamond League. And 2 or 3 weeks later, I called them, hey, we have new ideas. First the 1 million run, then the inspiration games, and they asked themselves, hey, what's next?
And what is next is going to be so exciting. Breathtaking, I'm pretty sure. But you know, from each of you, is there any message you'd like to give out to the athletes themselves, just to say anything you want to them? Because of course it's a brand new situation that they're all in. Is there anything that you'd like to truly say to them? First to you, Christoph.
Yeah, I definitely have a message. I want to thank the athletes who participate, who are ready, too eager to compete, because we together want to send out a signal to the world. And this is a positive signal. Track and field is alive and can inspire.
Andreas, anything from you to add to that?
even in a difficult situation as we are in, there is some hope, and it is possible to invent some things. And I think that is one of the messages that is also integrated in the world inspiration. So that is what we can tell about. Yeah.
Well, I can say truly, gentlemen, as a fan of athletics, thank you very much for coming up with this idea, coming up with this concept, and of course, trying to deliver this unique occasion for us. I'll just check and see if there's any questions before I get in contact with some of the athletes. So, Shelby, are there any questions that anybody sent out for us?
First of all, I thought there is a question, and I thought Christian Taylor is asking something because there was the name Christian Taylor here, but it is a question for Christian Taylor. He is afterwards here and not now, so I thought Christian Taylor would ask you something. But no, at the moment, I think it looks like everything is clear, so we can hop on and go to the next stage with the athletes.
Brilliant stuff. Well, I'd say thank you very much to Andreas and Christoph. I will hopefully see you all in the flesh really soon. I'll try not to avoid Zurich. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your efforts. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hello, Colin Jackson here, hosting this very special press conference for the Inspiration Games brought by Weltklasse Zurich. Now, I am very excited because it's now we're going to talk to some of the athletes who will be absolutely competing for us in this such an incredibly unique occasion that I'm interested to hear what they truly think about what this occasion is going to bring to them, how excited they are about it, and also that real fun element of athletics, because as you get to hear their conversations, you'll understand that they're more than just athletes. So let's give a welcome to Katerina Stefanidis, Sandy Morris, Sam Kendricks, and Christian Taylor. How are you all doing?
Hello.
Oh, wonderful.
Excellent stuff. Oh, you all. Now, I really quickly want to say: has anybody seen anybody in the flesh this year at all?
Not.
No, everybody's going, no, they've not seen. And it seems so strange, guys, that we're in the month of July and we've hardly seen any other athletes themselves. So the first question I've really got to ask everybody is how is daily life being during the pandemic? Should we start with you, Kat?
Yeah, so we started the pandemic in Greece actually. And we went there for a month to do the Olympic torch delivery, and we ended up getting stuck for 3 months. And we debated staying there for the whole summer, but we didn't have my competition pole, so we knew we would have to come back to the US. So after like 6 failed attempts, like 6 canceled flights, we finally were able to come back to the US. Things were a little more relaxed, I would say, here. Than they were in Greece, especially during the main part of the lockdown. We had to text the government every time we had to leave the house. It was crazy. For like 7 or 8 weeks, it was super strict. But Greece did very good. Then we came back here. Things weren't as good, but they were a little less strict. Don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But generally, we haven't been able to see very many people. We missed about a month and a half, 2 months of training, but we're back to normal now, or I shouldn't say normal, we're back to something like normal, or the new normal, and I think we're kind of getting used to it.
Sandy, how about yourself?
Wanted to visit the beaches of Greece. But it's been interesting for me. I spent the first 7 weeks or so, I actually packed up and drove to South Carolina to hang out with my family because I never really get to do that. My parents live in South Carolina. I live here in Arkansas. And so I saw it as an opportunity to go just get some family time in. I know I sound insane for choosing to spend lockdown with my family. Which is probably true. Most people, that sounds like their worst nightmare. But, I really haven't spent that much time with them since high school. So I went and I built a pole vault pit with my dad, which was really fun. And I've been able to train on it. And I'm going to go visit them again here to host a small competition and to train on it some more. But I came back here to Arkansas because I've got my house here, my pets, and my husband. He's here with me now because his job is all online. It's virtual. He was supposed to be in California right now. So it's just been rolling with the punches. Every time something happens, figure out where you can train, how you can train. It's all modified. And I've just kind of made it into a game. What tools do I have? And how can I train, even though this environment is very, very different than what I normally have access to. So it's been kind of fun for me, to be honest, but try not to think about the atrocities that are going on in the world. And there's been a lot of that for sure.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And Sam, how about you? Because I can see in the background there, your office is looking bare. And Christian, how about yourself? How has it been for you?
Some worst places to be stuck, but currently still without a track. You know, we generally train at a university, and because the university is closed, the tracks are closed. But I had the pleasure of finally getting a small competition in this past weekend, which was amazing, but was also a bit of a wake-up call. Did a little jump. It felt like a jump training, and my feet were really dearly paying for that. But all in all, just staying healthy, just trying to stay positive, and keep my distance from friends and family. Just try to do my part.
And I think for many athletes, I think this is one of the most difficult times for them. I mean, it's that real interaction with each other, because if you're in a big training group or just a reasonable training, there's always that camaraderie there where, you know, you're talking, you're experiencing stuff, and you're very much at a close quarter. So I totally have empathy with you trying to keep your social distance. But Katerina, if I could come back to you now and say, how important is general competition to keep your mind focused on the big events that will happen later on, World Championships, Olympic Games? How important is it?
I mean, I think you have 4 of the most competitive people in track and field right here. We will all tell you how it's so important. I mean, first of all, we're athletes. We want to compete. I want to compete more than I want to train. I train because I want to compete well. So there's nothing more important than competition, even when you're not at the best shape and you're not ready. I think it puts you in the right mindset, and especially for a pole vaulter where we need to move to a different poles, we need to move to certain runs. We do that so much better under the pressure and the adrenaline of the competition that we do at practice. And even on previous normal years, there has been very many times where we started the season and we hadn't gone to our competition poles yet, we hadn't gone to our competition run yet, and we were using the first few meets to get us into that rhythm. And obviously this will happen again, even though it's July and not May, which is normally when we start. But we're athletes. I think we feed from competition, and anybody who likes training more than competing, I think, is probably not as successful at the elite level and in the international level.
Or they're retired like myself, you mean, right? I definitely enjoy training the more competition now, that is for sure. Sandy, and for you, how has it been easy to stay motivated for this season?
I've had my moments. I think we all have probably gone through that. I think it's been embracing that we may or may not have a season and kind of embracing the unknown, but using this extra time to focus on things that maybe we don't normally get to focus on. For me, it was actually a blessing in disguise because I've had an indoor season, a little knee problem kind of popped up. So having a delayed season is actually really good for me. When I jump at the Inspiration Games, it's going to be my first time at full approach since before the lockdown. But like I said, I totally agree with her. There's something about just knowing you're in a competition that nothing can replace that. And the adrenaline that you get too, that's irreplaceable. So even though there's not going to be fans or a crowd or any of that, just knowing that I'm actually jumping against someone, even though they're on the other side of America or the world, it'll definitely be a different mindset. And I'm happy to have, even if it's a virtual competition, I'm happy to have anything to kind of motivate me, because I have had moments where I'm like, okay, when am I going to compete next? Because that's what I live for.
And for you, Sam, if you think about the competition itself, your pole vaulting, lots of times people may be thinking, well, you're always focused on yourself anyway, because you don't really see what's happening because you're not going head to head. But this is very much going to be a head-to-head competition, isn't it, still?
Absolutely. And I'm sorry my mic wasn't working earlier. This time that we have to work on everything, you get to really spend that new time on your profession, on your situation at home, the thing that helps you launch onto the world stage is here. And we have more time at home now, which is special. The cool thing about competition and what the Inspiration Games is providing for us is a glimpse at each other. You know, when we're both so far separated right now, we get to see each other in the light of competition. Mentality is so important, and just mentally being connected by the string of competition through the Inspiration Games. I've done it before. We did the Garden Clash not 3 months ago between myself, Mondo, and Renaud Lavillenie that spurned 10 different competitions. They grow from something. People willing to get out there and compete is so key. Having time to spend on yourself and get healthy, get reoriented is special. And I think now athletes and competitors, they were given a break and they're ready to come back.
Christian, if I can ask you this question, when you were approached to compete in the Inspiration Games and they told you the concept, how it was going to work, did you scratch your head and think, hang on a minute, how is this going to work?
I really think Kat hit it on the nail on the top of the head. We are competitors. This is like the four of us in this window. You're not going to find fiercer competitors than us. And you know, I was inspired by the name. You know, Inspiration Games. Let's provide inspiration. Let's provide hope in the midst of a difficult time. You know, in the heart of the pandemic. How can athletes be at the forefront and show that we are really making the best of a difficult situation, but to also know that my other competitors, we're going to be in California and Portugal. I also enjoy the trash talk. I also enjoy the banter and the back and forth, you know, watching somebody compete and then to respond after that. That is the special thing that we see in the fields. Yes, we are not neck and neck, and yes, you know, we don't have somebody beside us, but we also can feed off of energy. And I'm sure this is something, you know, the other individuals on this call can really relate to, and even yourself, Colin. It is going to be a unique experience, but nonetheless, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And if this is what the new normal is, you know, for this period, then let's attack it head on and make the best of it.
I forgot to ask you guys at the very beginning, where will you all be competing? So, Kat, what stadium will you be competing? Where will you be competing?
I will be in Mount Sac. I will be in California. So I'm excited. It will be hot, but it won't be humid.
Okay. And you, Sandy, where will you be competing?
I'll be in Florida. So I'll have the humidity too. But that's okay. I've been training here in Arkansas. It's pretty humid here, so you know, we'll see.
And gentlemen, Sam, where will you be competing?
Oh, I'll be in Florida under a tent, hopefully with an ice towel with Sandy. You know, hot and humid as
I'm gonna go hang on Sam then.
If anybody can pull off this feat of timing, I think it would be the Swiss. I think that's what they're famous for.
And by the celebration of you there, Christian, I presume you're in Florida.
Absolutely. Sunny, humid, sweaty Florida. No better place to be. So I'm pumped, and hopefully I help the other two get acclimated and find ways to stay cool.
Now, this is an interesting one, hopefully, is that do you think you're going to be nervous when you go to compete? Will it be the same nerves as when you're in the main stadiums? Go on. I see Sandy showing.
I'll take this one.
Go on, Sandy. Go on then, Sam. Go on, Sam.
So, nerves. Nerves is a new thing. Nerves is about forging yourself. I mean, the first jump for pole vaulters, and 3 out of the 4 of us are jumpers. The first jump is always the most nerve-wracking, but it's also the closest to your heart, the one you train for the most. So if you can get over just that first bar, we'll be off to the races. You won't have to worry about us being nervous.
There was a strong, bold statement there from Sam. Would you concur with that, Sandy, or would you think, just let me see what happens?
The correct word, I would say curious, because I don't know exactly how my my nerves and my adrenaline. I don't know how it's going to respond. I'm hoping that they at least blast some music or something, because if I'm just in a stadium by myself, and I guess we can look at the screen, right, and see our competitors. So maybe that'll help get the heart going, like make it more real, because otherwise it's going to feel kind of like is someone playing a prank on me, or did I just come here to compete and it's a big
Twilight Zone is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Before I get to you, Christian, can I quickly ask that question to Kat? Are you gonna be nervous?
Yeah, well, I feel like I need to be nervous to compete well, and just talking about it right now, I'm getting more and more nervous. So that, I think nervousness and excitement are two emotions that are very similar. So I think what I am is excited, but I call it nervous, and I am very nervous. I've been jumping well, so it's not like this curiousness of how am I going to do, but I want to show the world that I've been jumping well, and I want to show the world that I was able to come back in a month and a half. I am excited and I am nervous, and I hope I continue to be, because I think that helps me compete better.
Excellent. And Christian, you already mentioned about competing on the weekend and your feet were a little bit sore. Will that fact that you got sore feet make you nervous then?
Yes, just because I'm not used to that sensation of the impact on the track. We've been on grass or turf, and so that was a bit of a shock. Now to get over that hump, it was very nice, but there's always the nerves that when your name is on a start list, that there's a level of expectation, and so the last meet was very closed, and we didn't have spectators, and only participants were there. We had our social distancing, but I knew at the end of the day, like if somebody didn't say anything, nobody would know how you competed. Now it's going to be live stream around the world, and so for me it's different. I have to go back to the social media, and there are going to be people that say, well, we understand you're in a pandemic, but you still are, XYZ. So I think that does add to it a little bit.
Well, I can assure you it's definitely going to be a global or worldwide audience. If my sister picks up her mobile phone to ring me to confirm the time at the start of the meet, there's going to be millions of people across the planet watching you guys perform. So I can assure you, you should be nervous, all right? But what we're going to do, we're going to go to the press now, people that are listening, and see if there's any questions there for any of our athletes. So Shelby, is there any questions that have come in?
And most of them you already answered, because for sure, interesting is how you prepared during this special situation. How it is to compete in front of not 25,000 people. There's a specific question to Sandy, but when I understood you correctly, your last competition was in France in February, right? And then you had no competition, Sandy, till now, right?
Correct, yeah.
So this was one question, just to be sure about that. And maybe we can go a little bit in deep because of this clapping thing you all talked about. We will have some volunteers to give you a little bit interaction, but for sure there it's not 25,000 people. How will that be for you?
Just put stuffed animals everywhere.
Dummies, so some dummies there. But that's something, maybe you already talked a little bit about that, but this adrenaline with the audience, with the spectators, it will not be the same. How is that for you, Christian?
Well, as you know, we from the spirit and the startup of the clap with Willie Banks, the clap is very important with the triple jump. So this will be a very unique factor, but luckily for me also, I will have Sandy, I will have Sam, I will have some of my training partners around. So I'm sure we're going to make any kind of noise or get some kind of clap going. Though it will not be the 10,000 or 20,000 that we may be accustomed to, sometimes maybe even 5 is good enough, So I know we're going to make the best of the situation.
I think it's just the same for the others. Catherine, you're not with the other 3 in the same stadium, but how will that be for you?
I will have some other athletes in California, but I have this image. It's going to be a little bit like when we were in high school or college, where the only people cheering for you are your team, because they're the only people that know you. Obviously, we won't have a big team. I will only have my husband and coach there and my agent. But I think the group of athletes that will be in California will certainly try to cheer for each other and kind of feel this like real competition atmosphere. And like you said, there might be some things we don't know about that will make us feel a little more like we're in front of the crowd maybe. But I think what Christian said earlier, just knowing that the whole world is watching, even if they're not right there supporting us and watching us, I think that will be good enough for now.
And Colin, I have to add a question to Christian. Triple jump. So Stuart Weir is asking that. Great to see triple jump back in the Diamond League, in a special Diamond League event. Is this an opportunity to showcase the event, Christian?
Absolutely. I've tried to applaud and publicly really the inspiration games. We're hoping this can inspire on many different levels, but it is. I never take it for granted. Even now, especially, the opportunity to be back with the Diamond League, to be back with actually my friends, and colleagues. I think this really could be a start of a positive wave, and also hoping for those that, I'm always speaking about the next generation, those triple jumpers that are up and coming, how exciting the triple jump is, and they want to be a part of that. Well, hopefully we can stir something now and put on a great show that can continue going forward. But I'm so thankful for the Zurich Diamond League for including us in all the events that are included.
Sport and role model is one thing, and there is another question, because we've seen that in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, how cool athletics is because of you guys out there, because you are personalities. And Stuart is asking, especially Sandy, because you are not only athlete, he wants to have an update on your zoo.
The zoo is doing great. That's one of the main reasons why I had to get back to my house in Arkansas, is my snakes and my birds and my rabbit and my everything needed me. So, because my pet sitters, they just can't replace my care of my beloved animals. So I came back, and also because my doctor is here. So I've been working with my physical therapist with my knee problem, but now all of that's sorted. It's all good. But yeah, the animals they're doing great.
So a special side from you, Sandy. Maybe I add one question, because we are in a special time, as we talked about the last weeks a lot. And John Malkeny is asking if once things return to normal, what that ever would be, really. Would you like to see more competitions like this one, where athletes are connected via video link across multiple locations? Is that an idea who could work, Sam, or hopefully that's the only year we have to do it like this?
I think this could be a model for more than just us to use. It's called the Inspiration Games, I think, for a reason. Could be a proof of concept. It's certainly not going against all of the hard work that has gone into the Inspiration Game. It's not the most ideal for what we grew up in the sport as, but it could be a venue, a vehicle for so many other people to compete against one another that would otherwise not. Growing up in school and conference and college and as a professional, I really never got to compete against the whole world until I got to the end of the road. This could be a time for cross-conference, cross-town, cross-country, cross-international rivalry for people that aren't just professionals, and that could be cool.
That sounds fantastic. We will see in 2 days how it works. We are in a good mood that they will be a great thing. Christian, one question for you. Have you evaluated your goals for Tokyo 2021 in this time?
Have I done what with my goals?
So the question is just gone. I kind of repeated.
Oh.
So if you have your goals re-evaluated, means
okay,
for 2021.
No, the goals are the exact same. It's just the finish line has been moved. But it is still to be the best in the world, obviously, and to be the best person on this day. That is really what's most important, to be the best person when whoever's the most ready, whoever's the healthiest, for the stars to align in that moment. But no, to be stronger, faster, smarter, everything, to be prepared for that Olympic final is only the end goal. Only the finish line has changed, but the goals have remained the same.
Back to you, Colin.
Indeed. And of course, thank you all for those questions that were given to our wonderful athletes. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of, I guess, trick playing on our athletes. Now, they all know me well enough that I'm likely to do something. So to follow you guys, there is going to be Shane, there's going to be Allison Phoenix, there's going to be Noah Lyles, and there's going to be Andre de Grasse. Now, what I want is for Kat, you to tell me something positive about Shane that makes her strong in a unique occasion like this. I know you're an athletics fan, so you will be able to answer that question. What do you see are her strengths that will shine in this particular competition?
Well, you're putting me on the spot here, Colin.
Oh, they're all going to get it. Don't worry.
Well, I have a good one for Shane because she's married to another athlete. And they both medaled last year. In fact, we actually saw him compete at the third Ultimate Garden class, and I'm sure he will be there supporting her. And I think as much as we love the crowd, there's something special about having close family there supporting you. So I think she will have an advantage because of that.
Okay, and Sandy, I'm talking about Allison Phoenix for you. What is so great about Allison that you think that's a strong point that she can put into place during these inspiration games?
More inspirational person than Allison Felix, to be totally honest. She's one of the people that I really have looked up to my entire career. But I think same thing, like, well, I don't know if her family's going to be there, but just mama power, she's been big about that. And I think that just channeling that super mom within her, super mom, million Olympic gold medals and all of that too, but all of that.
Absolutely. And Sam, you have Noah. What is going to be great about Noah, do you think?
Well, we've been traveling the road for the last few years. We actually are both champions of Weltklasse Zürich in the past, even on the same year. We were in cars, back bumper to bumper, driving around the stadium in Leitzengrund in Zürich last year and before. It's to watch a guy grow up in the sport, him and his brother, is so breathtaking. And he's just raw, absolute fun-loving potential. And every time I even have the hint of being on the track with Noah, I get excited. Whenever I'm on a taxi with him from the airport, I get excited. That guy really amps me up 10 times more than I could for a crowd. Noah Lyles is.
That is great to hear. And remember, I'll be asking them about you, so don't worry. Hopefully they're just as positive about you guys as you are to them. And finally, for you, Christian, of course, Andre de Grasse. What's Andre got to offer, do you think?
I think he's got a lot of inspiration around him. He's got his daughter, Yuri. He's got Nia, that he can see and feed off of that energy. Obviously, coming off of tremendous Doha, so obviously just being, you always want to surround yourself with uplifting people and people that are going to help you at your level. And so I think that's going to be inspiration that he has every single day. But then also, to get that Olympic gold. I think that's what he's working towards every single day. That's what's going to be on his mind, and almost the only medal that he does not have at this point. So I think that is something that will drive him, hopefully, to the finish and beyond. But I think that's really added motivation at this time.
Great to hear. Now, finally, guys, before I let you go, can you sum up to how important potentially the inspiration games do? It's giving you that motivation, the unique of the competition. What is going to excite you finally, Kat?
When when we got the call about the Inspiration Games, we knew about the Diamond League season that will start mid-August. And as much as you can stay motivated as an athlete, just knowing there is a season versus before where we didn't even know if there was a season, it was very hard to think about so far away when we were already ready to compete. You know, we were supposed to start our competitions in May. Suddenly our first competition was mid-August or even late August. So to have something feel so close, I will say for me personally, it pushed me very much, mostly mentally, to get motivated again, to want to train again, to want to do well again. And like I said, I mean, I love pole vaulting. I went out there and pole vaulted every day, but I did it with small poles. I did it with few steps, and I just went out and had fun. And having that, you know, we had about 4 or 5 weeks, I think, to prepare for it. So I'm like, okay, you need to do everything right every time you're out on the track to be ready for the Inspiration Games. But I want to take this opportunity to thank Weltklasse Zürich for putting this on for us. I'm sure it's not easy. I am sure it's not cheap. And we very much appreciate it, the athletes, and I'm sure the fans also very much appreciate it.
Wonderful words. And from you, Sandy.
Same thing. I mean, it's hard, especially earlier when everything was extremely unknown. I feel like now we're starting to have more of an idea of when our season could be potentially happening with the current schedule. But this event specifically is going to be really good to kind of kick that off, even though it might still be another month until we get to jump in another Diamond League or anything like that. But this is definitely a good kickoff to the season. And a good kickoff to the coronavirus track season. I don't know what to call it, but it's going to be a different kickoff, but very suitable for the year we've had so far. I'm excited because it's kind of historical. I can, when I'm 80 years old, go back and be like, yeah, during the coronavirus, I did an international virtual competition against the best in the world, and it was awesome. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a good rust buster for me, at least. I know Katarina, she sounds really confident over there. So I gotta get it together, but no, I'm excited. It'll be fun. And like I said, bust off that rust, get going, and then help me get ready for the rest of the season.
We're so looking forward to that. And Sam, what's your thoughts?
Well, spinning up for the season, and I'm sure the directors and the organizers for this competition will tell you, getting started takes a lot of power. It takes money. It takes time. It takes a lot more sweat, and getting the motor running, like Sandy said, breaking off that rust is tough, and this gives us a great excuse. What better excuse to go out of your comfort zone, to get ready to go again, than the Inspiration Games? It's tough, but it's worth it, and I'm excited to get ready to go.
And to you, Christian, the final word.
And maybe emphasizes just gratitude. You know, that is, for me, that is almost the spirit that I have with this meeting in particular, with the world athletics, with anyone that is trying to make something happen in this difficult time. You could just almost have gratitude for all the different pieces that must come together to make things happen, whether it's social media, whether it's the pieces that come together to make this press conference happen. It is a team effort, and our team now is global. And so I think this is very unique, but at the same time, I just really extend my heart and my hands in gratitude for the efforts and for the contributions that really make this happen. So that's where my heart is right now. And I thank the Inspiration Games for coming into action, coming into play, and for this press conference to go as smooth as it did.
Well, Katarina, Stephanie D, Sandy Morris, Sam Kendricks, Christian Taylor, thank you very much for your time. We wish you all the very best for this coming Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks, Colin. Good luck.
Hello and welcome to the press conference for the Inspiration Games. If you've missed the first one with our wonderful jumpers, they are so up for this competition, and I'm hoping our sprinters feel exactly the same way. I'm Colin Jackson and I'm hosting the event today. So we'd love to welcome questions from you. And if you do want to ask some questions of our athletes, there is a way of doing that in the live chat. So if you look down at the bottom of the screen, if you click on, you can then type out your question to our athletes. Shelby will pick it up in Zurich, and then your individual question will be presented to the athletes. So when we're talking about athletes, let's introduce them. We have Shanae Miller-Weibo here, Allison Phoenix, Noah Lyles, and Andre DeGrasse. Guys, can you hear me loud and clear? Hopefully you can.
Yes.
Hey, Allison. Great stuff. Shanae, can you hear me too? I think they may have a little bit of trouble with their hearing. But first of all, since we know Allison can hear me live and direct, Allison, how has the lockdown been for you?
And restrictions here are, are still in place, and so it's been really difficult to train and to, find facilities. The facilities are locked down here, but we're just doing the best that we can. Staying hopeful and keeping those goals out in front of us and focusing on, other things like as well.
Well, we'll talk about focus on other things in a moment. Let's talk about the Inspiration Games itself. When it was presented to you as an option, this is what we're going to try and do from the Weltklasse in Zurich. What were your thoughts on it? Did you think, this is surely not can happen?
I loved the idea right away. I thought it was so cool. I've just been training and training and training. So anything to break it up, there's no, for California right now, there's no real race possibility. So this seemed like something great. And I just loved the concept. It was different and creative. It's what you have to figure out how to get it done.
Shanae, can you hear me? How has lockdown for you been?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Shanae. Yes.
Awesome. It's been a little bit difficult, but I think we all kind of try to do our best to make our way around it. Trying to find a park to train at, or some that were on the streets, and we're just trying to make a way as best as we could. But we all survived through it, and back on the track now and back to training.
Well, you had your legs, I'd say, unwind on the weekend, didn't you? That competition went pretty well.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. We were happy that our coaches were able to come together and put on a meet for us here in the Clermont area, and so. Yeah, we were able to get one in and see exactly where we were at. And I think that we're both, me and my coach, are very happy with it.
Andre, and for you, how has lockdown been? I think we're struggling a little bit with Andre's connection. Noah, I wonder if you can hear me loud and clearly. I think we're struggling with the intersection of the gentleman there. Yeah, I think we're struggling. I think they're struggling a little bit of connection. We will work on that behind the scenes and get the guys with us shortly. Allison, how do you think you're going to cope with this very unique way of competing?
I'm not really sure what to expect. I mean, I think the first time that we've all done anything like this. So I'm just approaching it, to have fun, and hopefully, give people something to watch and to be entertained by. I think we've all missed sports so much. And I think this just reinforces the importance of sport and what it does to bring people together. And so I think it's just going to be a really fun time and completely different.
And Shanae, for you, the same question. How do you think you're going to compete under these very unique circumstances?
I think, the same thing with Allison. We're just very excited that we were able to put on a meet, and be able to compete, and yeah, just put on a show for everyone that's watching. It's been a weird and tough year, but I think that we're all gonna have some fun with it and put down great performances.
Alison, in training for you, what are you like doing time trials on your own? Are you pretty good at them? Can you generate some real speed during that time when you're doing time trials on your own as an individual athlete?
I definitely say I'm the type of athlete who does better in a situation where I am, racing against someone. I feel like I rise to that occasion and I, feed off of that. So I think this will be, definitely challenging to be out there by myself, essentially, like you said, a time trial. But I love challenges. I think that's, I'm always looking for a new goal. So this will be something different to accomplish.
And Charlotte, how about yourself with that time trial situation? Because it is a time trial in one way, but I think when you get on the line, you may have a little bit of nerves because you will know that you are racing somebody, but also the eyes of the world are watching.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough, doing a time trial by ourselves, and that's exactly how I'm looking at it coming into it. But with me, I'm usually training with the guys, and I'm always trailing someone, and always running with someone, and so I think it's going to be a different feel. But I'm really excited for it, and I'm hoping for the best.
Now, Alison, if you think about this whole season, if we take about the obvious out, which is the competition, etc., what else have you missed about this track season basically not really happening?
I've missed all of it, yeah, that repetition, um, traveling, and getting to, continue to um, improve, it's hard, it's such a big year that we're all training for and expecting. And so to have everything shifted definitely took um, time to adjust to and to really prepare to change my mindset. And, in California, everything is still pretty much locked down. You can't get onto a track, without jumping a fence. So it's been challenging in that aspect, and just trying to adjust the best we can.
And Shani, for you, if we think of the season, the delays, obviously, it was going to be the Olympic Games this year. For you, do you think that is it a little bit of a blessing that you got that more of a delay where you could prepare a little bit more? Is it changed your goal setting at all? Have you thought about, I'm going to definitely do a double, I'm not going to do a double? How is it the cancellation of the Games affected your mindset, do you think?
I guess it could go both ways. On one hand, I guess it was really good that we got a chance to, get a little bit better at certain things. But on the other hand, everyone was really prepared for this year. We were putting in so much work, and, to see it all kind of just crumble away, it was a little bit devastating. But yeah, we're just gonna get ourselves back up and get ready to compete and do well next year. As far as the plans, that's all up to coach, and we're going to sit down and talk about it, and we'll see how things go.
Alison, during this period, then, what have you been doing to fill your time when you're able to train? Have you learned any new skills? Have you done some more cooking? Have you learned to play a banjo or something? Andre, hopefully that you can hear us this time. How you been during lockdown? How has it been for you? I'm thinking Andre's still struggling to hear me a little bit. If you can hear me, Andre, give me a thumbs up. If you can hear me. No, I think he's still struggling. Alison, as I was saying, during the lockdown period, during the time off that you've had, really, that's it's been enforced. Have you been able to turn your hand to any other new skills, learn anything new yourself? Have you done more cooking, for example? Played a new instrument? Anything like that of interest?
Yeah, no new skills, but just definitely, enjoying the time with my family. My daughter's 1.5 now, and so she is just super busy and into all kinds of things. And so any extra time I have is definitely spent with her and doing that.
Now, you, Shane, have been obviously locked down with your husband. Um, is it been great to have that real camaraderie, that shared experience with somebody who you exactly the same as you has that frustration of not being able to train, etc., etc.? Has that been a positive thing that you've been able to share with your husband?
Definitely, it's been great to have him here with me, obviously. But as far as the lockdown, I guess it didn't affect us so much, being that we always do things together, and we go to training together, we come back home, we spend time with each other, and so that's been the norm for a little while now, and so it hasn't been that difficult. The only thing is, we were both a little bit frustrated, with the season and not knowing exactly which way it would go. But we're coping with it, and we're just glad to see races are back on.
I've got to ask both of you here now. When they came to you, the Weltklasse Zurich team came to you and said, "This is the concept. We'd like you to participate in the Inspiration Games." What were your true thoughts? Did you think that it was possible that you could run as an individual but still compete against people across the world? Alison, you first.
I think I had questions about, just how it all worked, how it was going to function and how, the logistics of everything. But I was totally on board with the concept and I thought it was super creative and just, adapting to what's going on in the world right now.
And Shauna, for you, when they spoke to you about that you'll be raced in virtually, how did you take that?
The theme here, I did have a few questions on how it's going to be set up, but I was also very thrilled. Obviously, it was the first notice of a track meet for us, and yeah, I thought it was going to be exciting. A 150, which is an odd distance, and yeah, I thought it was going to be exciting and fun, and get to put on a great performance for the crowd, the spectators.
I'm smiling there because you mentioned the spectators there. Do you think you raise to the occasion when you have a fuller stadium? Is that what's going to be perhaps a little bit tricky, a little bit difficult, that you won't have the same amount of people cheering you on when you hear that start gun? For you first, Shani.
Definitely. I'm one that feeds off of the crowd big time, and so it is going to be a little bit difficult. But like I said, I'm taking it in as a time trial, and I'm just going to go in there and be focused, locked in, and just get ready to try and give a good 150.
Alison, that same question to you, really. Do you feed off the crowd? Is it going to be difficult not having that crowd around you?
Love the crowds and love getting out there to perform. But yeah, we're just going to do our best. I think it'll be, kind of like a training session, time trial feeling. And, you just got to get up for those and do the same for this.
Do you think you're going to be nervous? This is one of the things I asked the other guys as well. Do you think there's going to be that sense of nerves? Because you will feel slightly isolated on the track on your own. It's just going to be you. But the eyes of the world will be watching.
I hope I get a little bit of nerves. I don't know if I'll experience that, but I hope so because, usually when I race, I do, and I love it. It's a part of the process. So, we'll see.
Shani, I used to be terrified when my coach told me I had to do a time trial. So I did get nervous when I had to line up on my own. So do you think nerves will have any effect on your performance?
So I'm not one that really gets nervous, especially for one-offs. I get nervous in practice, but it's when we have the continuous sets. And so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I love one-off runs, and yeah, I'll see how it goes.
So what do you think, both of you think, will be your strength that you could rely on here? Is it going to be experience? Is it going to be potential, the conditions, because you're running in two different tracks in that sense? What do you think you'll be able to rely on as your trump card, do you think? First of all, you, Allison, what's the best thing about you? Your strength. Give it away to your opponents, it's fine.
I'm not really sure. I can say that I'm really excited to run at the distance of 150 meters. I mean, 200 is my favorite, and so this is closer to that. And I can just say, it's been a long time for me since I've gotten to sprint. I've been coming back from having a baby and doing all these things and trying to get back to being myself. And so the distance, I'm excited about that.
Did you, Shawnee?
Yeah, I think it's the excitement for me too. I'm just really happy to be back and competing and just being able to let loose sometimes. And so, yeah, I think that's going to be the main thing. I'm hoping that the weather holds up. It's been raining occasionally here in Florida, but I'm hoping that holds up and the sun is out and we can put on a great performance that day.
So that it's clear for our viewers to know where everybody is competing. Shana, you've just mentioned you will be in Florida, and Allison, are you competing in California?
Competing at Mount Sac.
So you'll be at Mount Sac. So it'll be a little bit drier potentially than in Florida. So I'm looking forward to, since I'll be on part of the commentary team there, to see the difference in conditions and how much that will affect the performance. But both of you, I'm just wondering how your motivation has been during this season. Has it been tough to motivate yourself to get out there and do some type of training in the hope of a competition like this? Allison, you first.
Been good. There was definitely that period where I had to take for myself to kind of mourn what this season, it was expected to be. And once I was able to do that, I was able to shift my goals and refocus. I think the biggest challenge more than the motivation has been what the logistics look like, having a facility to train at, figuring all of those things out, which our world still looks very, very different. So that's been the biggest hardship.
And Shani, for you, how difficult it has been to really reset your goals and stay motivated to perform this season?
Yeah, I would say there was a bit of a dip as far as motivation goes after the Olympics had been postponed. I think everyone kind of took a little drop, but for us, it's just working on different things. There's so much different things that we have to work on. Not perfect. And so, yeah, we're working on those things and trying to get as great as we can at them and just go with that. But I guess the motivation is still there for me. It's just, just taking it one step at a time.
Well, I'm going to go and check with Shelby to see if there's any questions that have come from the floor. Shelby, is there any questions for our two female guests here?
Absolutely. We have some questions from Zurich, or they came from all over the world here to Zurich. I will pick up your question about the 150 meters. So John Malkin is asking both of you, your previous races against each other have been over 200 meter and 400 meter, but this week's, as we know, will be over 150 meter. Given the shorter distance, do you think Mushinga Kambunji should be considered the favorite, or do you feel you're capable of beating her or one another over the 150? So the question about the favorite, Allison, who's going to be the favorite over 150 meter from your point of view?
I have no idea who the favorite is. I'll leave that up to, everyone who analyzes things and does that sort of thing. I think, as athletes, it doesn't really matter who the favorite is. I think we are all just excited at the opportunity and, are excited to get out there and give it a go at 150. So I think it's more about, the thrill and the fun of racing. At least that's my approach.
That sounds perfect, but still the same question to you, Shoni.
No, I feel the same way. It's not distance; it's 150 meters, and so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it turns out. You have the 1-2 runners and the 2-4 runners going head to head with each other, and so I think we're both gonna we're all gonna pull the best out of each other in this. I wish we were all competing together, but I think it's going to be really exciting to see how it turns out.
And a question from Anand Dotla to Allison, who is asking, we are going through an intense period of human strife and culture challenge. As a mother and an athlete, can you put the Inspiration Games in perspective?
Yeah, I can say that, what we're experiencing right now, just the climate of what's happening in the streets of America has been extremely difficult, and it's heavy. And yes, as a mother and thinking about my child and how she'll grow up, and as a Black mother in this world, it's been very sobering. I will say that. And so I've been trying to be vocal and do the best that I can with that. And so I think having something like the Inspiration Games brings a bit of joy. It definitely, for me, gives me something to be excited about and look forward to when it has been challenging with the climate of the situation.
And when we look now, like a kickoff to the season and then to the next season, where we have the Olympic Games postponed to 2021, what are your aspirations for Tokyo as the most decorated Olympian athlete?
I'm super excited for the opportunity to, continue to train to try to make the Olympic team. I mean, it's going to be a big challenge, but I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to, this is, my final years right now. And so I'm just wanting to embrace it, enjoy it, and have fun. And just really embrace the sport that I've loved and competed in for so long.
And there's a question from Nick McCorrell to Allison, but as well to Shoni. I will ask you that. A lot of athletes have seen COVID-19 as a double-edged sword. We already talked a little bit about that, but again, do you feel like this time away has given you the chance to focus on your training that you might not have had otherwise? Shoni first.
Yeah, like I said, we get an opportunity to work on a few things. Like I said, it's a whole bunch of things that we have to work on. Not perfect, and so yeah, we're just going to take our time and try to perfect those as best as we could. And it gives us a little bit more time as far as the Olympics being pushed back. And yeah, hopefully it all comes to play by then.
And Allison, as I said, we already talked a little bit about that, but again, maybe a little bit the thing on focus and special things you didn't have time previous years.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really trying to make the conscious decision to be positive. I think it's easy to dwell on all the negative things, that are in place because of what's happening. But I'm just focusing on being able to have the time to get stronger. I know, and I've been trying to get back to myself and to my fitness level and to the level that I'm usually at to compete. And so this has allowed me time to get stronger, and I am thankful for that.
And Eric Bohl is asking you, Allison, focusing on the special stadium, the new Hilmer Lodge Stadium. You were competing for about 18 years at Mount Sac Relays, and there is a new Hilmer Lodge Stadium, and you're going to be one of the first athletes competing there. How is that for you?
Yeah, I've ever since I started running track, in high school, I've competed at the Mount Sac Relays. It's a very special place for me, and so I'm so excited. I've only seen photos of the stadium, and so it'll be really special to walk out there and get to test the surface and to compete there for the first time.
So a lot of things will be new in 2 days. This
Yes.
one, and especially the competition. So back to you, Colin.
Indeed. A question I would want to throw out to both Allison and to Shoni is about your general fitness, about your shape. How would you compare your fitness now in July as you would be, say, if it was a normal track and field season? Are you potentially still stronger because you're closer to winter work and perhaps not as sharp, or you're reasonably sharp and you're just hungry for competition now? Start with that with Shoni.
Um, I wouldn't say that we're as sharp or I'm as sharp as I would be around this time. I would say right before the pandemic, we were gearing up to being in the best shape of our lives. And so, yeah, I think after the pandemic and, things having to slow back down, we've been working on a few different things, strength being one of them. And, but even with that, it's still not where it was. And so, yeah, I guess we'll just have to see exactly what type of shape we're in.
And Alison, for you, that question?
Yes, I agree. Definitely not sharp. I think when everything happened and once we knew for sure that the Olympic Games would be postponed, we really had to think about being, at our best now a year from now. And in my situation and where I'm at with my career, I had to make some adjustments just with the level impact on my body so that I could, still be able to continue to train, but to save something and to, have that one last time to be at my best next year. And so, yeah, I definitely think things have shifted now.
I'd like to ask the both of you, what do you think is going to be difficult about competing at the Inspiration Games? What in your mind is going to be a little bit tricky, that it's a challenge, a jeopardy that you've never dealt with before? So it's going to be the first time you feel, ooh, this is quite alien and I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think the thing what I'm going to be worried about is not knowing exactly where your competitors are at. We're so used to being in the same race with each other and being able to feed off of one another, and so it's just going to be hitting the gas and, until you hit the finish line, and I guess after that, then just see exactly where you placed.
And I think, running solo, it's difficult. It's hard to run really fast when you don't know where you're at, when you have nothing to really gauge off of. And so, yeah, it is essentially a time trial, but I think it adds a fun element. It's another challenge, something that'll be cool, to see how it comes out.
Previously, and she was saying that it's one of the things where she truly thinks she's making history in the sport, and it'd be something she'd be able to tell her grandkids that during COVID-19 I still competed against the best in the world. Do you have that same type of feeling, Shawnee?
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out a bit for me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was talking to Sandy Morris just before you guys came on, and she was saying that she cannot be wait to tell the story to her grandchildren that even through the pandemic, she was able to compete in against the best in the world, and to her, she's making history in such an unusual way, and she was kind of looking forward to that. Do you have that same sense of feel that you are truly making history?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is our first ever experiencing something like this, and so to be able to still be able to compete through it, I think that's a plus. And yeah, we're just gonna go with that and see how it turns out. But yeah, I definitely think it's history that's being made.
And Alison, for you, you've just been a trailblazer in so many ways. And do you think a competition like this is a trend that could happen, perhaps even during a normal athletic season?
Yeah, I think this will be a great test to see, how it goes and how we do. And I think it does give you another, something else that we can do with the sport to add to what we already have, another element of fun and entertainment for sure.
And finally, to summarize from both of you, what does the Inspiration Games mean to you? How pleased are you back on the track to be able to do something like this and compete? First for you, Shawnee.
I'm very happy with it. I'm glad that they were able to put on the meet for us to be able to compete and just be able to put on a show for the spectators and just I guess bring inspiration to all those that's been going through a whole lot during this pandemic. But yeah, I'm just really excited with it. I'm glad that we get a chance to compete and yeah, just have fun with the rest of the season and refocus for next year.
Allison, the final word belongs to you.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to it. I think everyone all over the world has been enduring really challenging times. And I hope that this is a time of hope, a time where we can kind of pause and appreciate sport and its creativity in each other. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can see two wonderful athletes there, Shoni Miller-Weibo and Allison Phoenix. Thank you very much for joining us. Apologies that we couldn't get hold of Andre de Grasse fully and Noah Miles. This is sometimes what happens with technology. But from us, the whole team at Weltklasse Zürich, we're looking forward to putting on the Inspiration Games this Thursday. Look out for us. Thank you.
Many thanks, first of all, to all the athletes who were part of this online media conference, and especially to Colin Jackson to hold this English part, as always, fantastic, inspirational and professional. To the media representatives who are out there, just a message that Colin Jackson just said. Unfortunately, we hadn't Andre de Grasse and Noah Lyles on air now, broadcasting in this live stream. We tried to get some quotes from them and we'll send it out to you guys. So please register on the Diamond League platform. If you haven't already done it, it's important that we have your contact to provide you with these informations. And as well, don't forget, for all of you out there, 8:00 p.m. Middle European time on Thursday, the Inspiration Games live on TV. If it's not broadcasting to your country, then go on YouTube, Diamond League YouTube. We will broadcast it there. So there is everywhere on the world a chance to be part of this historical event. Many thanks, and till soon.